Okay, I really hope that this is the last time I have to say this. I have tried to record this so many times, and it is just hard to explain. It's not hard. It's not a hard concept. It's just weird to explain because we don't have terminology in this community to explain things. In this game, if anyone read the Google Doc that I posted, I introduced terms called free influence and limited influence to explain aerial states. Free influence is when the L button lets you move, and limited influence is when the L button doesn't let you move. That's the easiest way to explain them. Free influence happens when you jump, and limited influence happens when you fall off a ledge or press the R button. Most people, I think, are kind of aware of this subconsciously, but maybe not consciously. Morphing does not change which jump state you're in. Or aerial state might be the better word, not to be confused with the jump state value. So if I jump and enter free influence, land here, morph, lay a bomb, I can still wiggle around afterwards. The only condition being that I don't accidentally land on a collision seam when I'm morphed, because if I do, then I'll using the bomb will count as falling off, and so I'll have limited influence after that. You can kind of tell there's cues. I think there's an audio cue and a rumble cue. To be honest, they're kind of like subconscious to me, so I'm not entirely sure, but you certainly can tell whether or not you've touched a collision seam. Especially if you have rumble turned on. So I'm pretty sure that rumble lets you know. I know it does when you're unmorphed. Anyway, I'm rambling. The main point of this tech is just that if you don't R-jump, you can morph and lay a bomb and reposition yourself somewhere, specifically like getting higher up somewhere. So if you're like really low down here and you just want to like get up, see how I didn't land on collision, but I can just wiggle until I find some. Just kind of mash B and wiggle. That was pretty sloppy, but generally I think the odds are in your favor that if you use this it'll end up being faster than, say, morphing, bombing, and then letting the game reposition you, which I can try and demonstrate. If this doesn't work, I'm going to keep this recording because this needs to just... I need to stop trying to record this. It's been too long. So if I do like an R jump here, and, you know, I messed it up pretty bad, I just had to sit and wait to be repositioned. There isn't really much you can do. Technically you could like turn to the side and use the analog stick to go forward more. But if I didn't R jump there, I could have just bombed on morph. Well, I landed on the collision, so it killed what I was trying to explain. Let's try one more time. So if I land down here where there isn't a collision seam, that's gonna mess it up. Well, I landed. I promise you, there is validity to this. And not just in this room. I hit a collision seam, probably when I was morphing. Okay, so yeah, it's not just useful here. Wiggling's actually extremely useful in the transition here, which I will try and demonstrate. So if you just wiggle on the ground there, you can almost always avoid like any sort of morph. And let's see if I can do the rest of the wall crawl just to kind of show the strats that I've developed for it. I missed the transition. If you hold forward at the right time, there, you can transition and also like get to the standable spot. Anyway, the main point of this video was to show off the morph ball, the fact that it doesn't change whether or not you're in free influence or limited influence. You just have to be cognizant of whether or not you're touching a ledge. which is kind of difficult for me because I don't have Rumble on Dolphin, but when I'm on console I generally can tell. So, as long as you haven't touched a ledge, utilizing wiggling... I'm gonna pause Dolphin, I feel like it's loud. Or just mute it. Utilizing wiggling is good, so everyone should probably pick that up. I guess if you're like really confident in the R jump, you don't have to. In the phase-on infusement chamber, but for other parts in the wall crawl, just be aware of whether or not you are in free influence or limited influence, because you can almost always avoid morphing, or you can morph and use one bomb and then wiggle to a standable spot instead of being slowly repositioned. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense.